HTML canvas graphics. The HTML canvas element is used to draw graphics on a web page. The graphic to the left is created with canvas. It shows four elements: a red rectangle, a gradient rectangle, a multicolor rectangle, and a multicolor text. So, what is HTML canvas? The HTML canvas element is used to draw graphics on the fly via JavaScript. The canvas element is only a container for graphics. You must use JavaScript to actually draw the graphics. Canvas has several methods for drawing paths, boxes, circles, text, and adding images. Here is the browser support. So you have the element in this row, and you have Google Chrome, you have Microsoft Edge, you have Firefox, Safari, Opera, and this is the canvas. We have the canvas examples. A canvas is a rectangular area on an HTML page. By default, a canvas has no border and no content. The markup looks like this. So we have open angle brackets. We are going to have the canvas element. We're going to have the ID attribute, equal sign, double quotes, and you can name it whatever you want. In this case, it's being named my canvas. We're going to have the width attribute. It's going to be equal sign, double quotes, 200, and it means 200 pixels, but you can omit the px, short for pixels. The height attribute is going to be set to 100 pixels, and then we're gonna end the canvas tag with angle brackets / canvas. Note: always specify an ID attribute to be referred to in a script, and a width and height attribute to define the size of the canvas. To add a border, use the style attribute. Here's an example of a basic empty canvas. So as you can see here, we have this little piece of white rectangle. Okay, so we have this piece of code. So we have angle brackets, we have the canvas element, we have the ID attribute, we have the width attribute, the height attribute, and the style attribute. And then, since we started the canvas tag, we're gonna end it. We're gonna end the canvas tag with angle brackets / canvas. And we can go to Visual Studio Code, and we're gonna go to click in new file. We're gonna name it index.html, and I'm gonna press Shift ! To have a template to work with. And inside of the body section is where we are gonna paste our code. So we're just gonna paste this piece of code here, and let's see what happens. So we're gonna press Alt+L+O, or you can just go to your file index.html and press open with live server. So let's see how it looks like. And we have this rectangle here. As you can see, the ID is gonna be my canvas. The width is 200 pixels, the height is 100 pixels, and the style is gonna be border 1 pixel solid, and the color is gonna be black, as you can see here. We can, I don't know, if you don't appreciate it, we can maybe instead of 1 we can put 10 pixels, so you can appreciate it better. So as you can see, it's thicker now. We can also change the color. You can just go here and choose whatever color you want, maybe this color here, and it's changing. So the width is gonna be 200 pixels, so let's go for, I don't know, 2000 pixels. So let's see what happens. So yeah, it's normal. So we're just gonna go to 200 pixels for the width and 100 pixels for the height. So the style is gonna be border 10 pixels solid. This is the basic canvas example. So we're gonna move to add JavaScript. So yeah, here is where it's gonna become dynamic. After creating the rectangular canvas area, you must add a JavaScript to do the drawing. Here are some examples. So we have this line that is it's a diagonal line here, and we're gonna be using this piece of code. We're gonna be using JavaScript. So in this video, we're gonna focus mainly on HTML. All these videos and this playlist they're about HTML, but we're just gonna be using a little bit of JavaScript code. So below the canvas element, so canvas is gonna be from lines 11 to 12. We're gonna just leave it there. I'm gonna press Ctrl plus so I can make the font look bigger. Okay, so I'm gonna just have this. I'm gonna type this JavaScript code. So we're gonna have this script element. We're gonna have the script element, and inside of the script element, we're gonna have this var statement declaration. So we're gonna have the var statement declaration. We're gonna have this variable named C, and we are gonna assign it to document document get element by id, and inside we're gonna open parentheses. Inside of the parentheses, we're gonna open double quotes, and the ID that we are gonna grab, you guessed it, is gonna be my canvas. So it's gonna be this one, the ID of the canvas element, as you can see here. So up to this point we have that. We're gonna close it with this statement with a semicolon, and let's make it like so you can see it better. Okay, so this is inside of the script element. Okay, so and then in the next line, in line 17, we're gonna have another var statement declaration. This time it's gonna be ctx. It's gonna be ctx, and we're gonna assign it to the variable x. And now we're gonna change the variable x to get context. Okay, so it's gonna be see that get context. Okay, like this. And let me show you something. So you type in C that get context, and then you press in the double quotes, and here you can read all this information that you have. So you have the HTML canvas, the identifier, so you can press here. You have 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, so you have all that information if you want to read about it. But we're not gonna go, this is just a general overview of the JavaScript. We are focusing more about the HTML part. So we're gonna have a double quote inside of the get context, inside of the parentheses of the get context, and we're gonna type in 2D because okay, so now we're gonna end it with a semicolon. And now we're gonna move to this variable. We're gonna be using this variable ctx, and now we're gonna change it to the move. We're gonna change it to move to, and we're gonna be using camel notation, move to. So 2 is gonna have the T is gonna be uppercase letter, and now it's gonna be 0, 0. So okay, so 0, 0, and then we're gonna end it with a semicolon. We're gonna save it. Let's open it to see how it's looking. Okay, so we have this up to this point. Our main goal here is to have this line, diagonal line. Okay, so that is that. We're gonna go now to the ctx.line 2. Okay, so ctx.line 2, again camel notation, and we're gonna open parentheses. Inside of the parentheses we're gonna have 200, 100, and in this case we have these parameters, these numbers 200, because the width is gonna be 200 pixels and the height is gonna be 100 pixels. That is the reason I'm using, or we are using in this example, 200 and 100 pixels. So let's save it. Let's see. Okay, it's not taking place yet. So we're gonna go for, okay, we need a ctx dot stroke. Okay, so we ended up with a semicolon, and then we're gonna use the ctx dot stroke, and we're gonna open a set of parentheses. We're gonna save it, and now we're gonna see, and as you can see we have this line, this diagonal line. So we're using JavaScript inside of our HTML file using the canvas, using the ID attribute of the canvas element, and we're using the ID as my canvas, and we're passing it here and document that get element by ID. And let me show you something. If instead of 200, we say we go for 20 and save it. So the line, this is how the line is gonna look like, because this 200 is representing the width. So let's go, instead of 100, let's go for 10, and this is how the line is gonna be looking. And the reason that we're using or picking 100 and 200 and 100 is because the width is 200 pixels and the height is 100 pixels. But then again, we are focusing more about the HTML than the JavaScript, so this is how it should be looking. And we're gonna move to the next example. So now we have draw a circle. Okay, so we are just gonna okay, so I just comment it, or you can just delete this part so it looks cleaner maybe. Okay, so in line, we're gonna be working in line 14, and now we're gonna have a script. We're gonna have a script element. Okay, let's move this one here. We're gonna have the script element, and okay, we're gonna be working our code in line 16 now. We're gonna have a var statement declaration name C, and we're gonna assign it to the document that get element by ID, and we're gonna open parentheses, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have double quotes. Inside of the double quotes we're gonna grab the ID, and it's gonna be my canvas. It's gonna be my canvas. And again, let me see, yeah, that's how it should look like. And again, we are picking the ID attribute of the canvas, and the ID attribute of the canvas is my canvas. We can change it to whatever we want. We can put whatever. In this case, we will have to put it here. We will have to update it. Instead of my canvas, we will have to type in whatever. So that is that. We're gonna move to the var statement declaration CTX, and we're gonna assign it to C, and we are gonna chain it to get context. We open parentheses, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have double quotes. Inside of the double quotes we're gonna be using the 2D, two-dimensional. We're gonna end up with a semicolon here, and now we're gonna be using this variable, the variable that we just created, the CTX that. So we're gonna chain it to begin path. So it's gonna be begin path, and as you can see we're using camel notation, so the first letter of the following word has to be capitalized. Okay, inside of the parentheses we are gonna have we're gonna have an empty set of parentheses. And to the next line, in line 19, we're gonna have the CTX that, and we're gonna chain it to the arc. Inside of the arc we're gonna have 3, 4, 5 parameters. So let me check this one. So we're gonna have the arc. I open a set of parentheses, and as you can see we have this information canvas path that arc. So we're gonna have one parameter, 1, 2. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so inside of the parentheses we're gonna have the numbers they're choosing. Let's go 95, 50, 40, and you have to separate it by commas. Now it's gonna be 0, comma, and it's gonna be 2 multiplied by math that pi. So let's see if this is looking good. 0 multiply math. Okay, Okay, so yeah, we're gonna end it with a semicolon, and now we're gonna be using the ctx dot stroke, and we're gonna open a set of parentheses. Okay, so and then we're gonna end it with a semicolon, so we're gonna save it and let's go to our website. Okay, and this is how it should look like. So we have a circle inside of this rectangle. Okay, you can change around these values. Maybe we can go to 500 to see what happens. You can play around so it disappears. So it was 50. Let's go for, I don't know, instead of 40, let's just go for 4. Let's see, and this is how it's looking, a very small circle. So let's go for 40, and these are the default values. And then again, we're not focusing on the JavaScript part, we're focusing on the HTML part, in this case of the canvas element. So we're gonna move to the next example. Now we're gonna draw a text. Okay, so let's just delete all this JavaScript code, and we're gonna have our script element. So inside of the script element, we're gonna have our var statement declaration name C. We're gonna assign it to this. Okay, again, we're gonna assign it to document dot get element by ID. So you can, if you can see here in VS and Visual Studio Code, we have get element by ID, get elements by class name, get elements by name, get elements by tag name. So you have a bunch of information here. So we're gonna use get element by ID. We're gonna open parentheses, we're gonna open double quotes, and again we're gonna put my canvas. So we're gonna end up this statement with a semicolon. And let me see, I'm gonna move it maybe just okay. So now it looks better. So now we're gonna have the var statement declaration name ctx. Then we're gonna assign it to c that get context. So we're gonna use this variable name c. We're gonna chain it to get context. We're gonna open parentheses, we're gonna open double quotes, we're gonna use the 2dimensional. We're gonna end this statement with a semicolon, and this is what we have here. Now we're gonna be using this variable ctx, so it's gonna be ctx dot, so we are chaining it to the, okay, we're gonna be using the font, and the font is gonna be =, double quotes, and it's gonna be 30 pixels, so it's gonna be 30 px, and it's gonna be Arial. So it's gonna be Arial. Yeah, it's looking good. So we're gonna end this statement with a semicolon. Let's open it to see if, okay, so nothing's happened because, okay, so we still ctx dot stroke, and then we open parentheses, an empty set of parentheses, and then your semicolon at the end. What else did I miss? I didn't put in the message. Okay, yeah, of course it's not gonna work. So we're gonna have the ctx dot, we're gonna change it to the field text. We're gonna open parentheses. Inside the parentheses we're gonna have the message hello YouTube, like that. That's gonna be our message, and we're gonna be using the numbers 10 and 50. So this is how it's gonna look like, hello YouTube. We can change this number, so it can, instead of it can be 100 and it can be 500 to see how it's gonna look like. It's gonna disappear, so we can go maybe, I don't know, 1 and 5. Let me see. Okay, it's gonna go up, so we're gonna go for just 10 and 50. So this is how it should look like, it should be looking. Okay, maybe let's go for, instead of 50, let's go for 40. Okay, so it's going up. So instead of, I don't know, 5, let's go for 5. Okay, so yeah, you can play around with these numbers again. Yeah, but this is the idea, to use this basic piece of code of JavaScript inside of this HTML file. So now we're gonna have this stroke text. Again, it's gonna be the same. What is the difference here? Hello world, my canvas is gonna be the same here, context. Okay, so we have hello world to the my canvas field text. Okay, now instead of field text, we are just gonna have, as you can see here in this example, we have ctx.field text, and then we have the hello world 1050. The only difference here is we're gonna have ctx.stroke text. So instead of field text, we're gonna have a stroke text, and again you have to use the camel notations. Okay, let's see what happened. And yeah, this is how it's looking now. This is the stroke text. Okay, and instead of 30 pixels, you can play around, you can put it, I don't know, maybe 60 pixels. So let's see how it should look like. Okay, it's gonna look way bigger. Okay, so yeah, that is the example. Now we're gonna go for the draw linear gradient. Okay, let's continue typing here. So I'm just gonna delete from line 16 to 20. I'm just gonna delete it. Okay, I'm gonna save it, and I'm just gonna keep my script element. I'm gonna move a little bit, indent it. So now we're gonna have the draw linear gradient. Okay, so inside of the script, we're gonna have the var statement declaration C. We're gonna use equal sign. We're gonna have the document that get element by ID, and again we're gonna open parentheses, double quotes, and the ID is gonna be my canvas. Okay, so we're gonna end this with a semicolon. Now we're gonna go for the var statement declaration name ctx. We're gonna assign it to the variable that we just created in 916, that is C. We're gonna chain it to get context. Okay, so we open parentheses. Inside of the parentheses, we're gonna pass in 2D for 2-dimensional. We end up with a semicolon. Okay, we save it up to this point. And what else do we have here? So this is for the var statement declaration. Now we're gonna create a gradient. So we're gonna move a little bit down, and you can comment it. You can type in create gradient. So I might do it. So it's gonna be create a gradient. So like that. So we're gonna move to line 20 now, and we're gonna create a gradient. So it's gonna be a var, and the var statement declaration is gonna be named GRD, short for gradient. We're gonna use the equal sign, and this time we're gonna be using the ctx. So we're gonna be using the variable ctx, and we're gonna chain it. We're gonna chain it to create linear gradient. So we're gonna type in create linear gradient, and then we're gonna open parentheses, and inside the parentheses we're gonna have double quotes. No, we're not gonna have double quotes. It's just gonna have a set of parentheses, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have in this case 4 values. So let me see this one. So we're gonna have the ctx that create linear gradient. Now we're gonna open parentheses, and as you can see, we have the canvas fill stroke styles create linear gradients. So it's gonna be 1, it's gonna be 2 parameters, 3 and 4 parameters, canvas gradient. So in this case they're picking the numbers 0, 0, 200, 0. So it's gonna be 0, 0, 200, 0. So let's save it, let's open it to see. Okay, we don't have anything yet. Okay, let's keep moving. So we end up with a semicolon, and now we're gonna have the we're gonna have the gradient, add color stop, and then it's gonna be red and white. Okay, so we're gonna be using this variable that we just created, gradient. So it's gonna be add it's gonna be add color stop, and again we're using camel notation, so it's gonna be, we're using camel notation here, so it's gonna be add color stop. So add color is gonna, the C is gonna be capital letter and stop is gonna be capital letter. You have to the first letter of the next word has to be initialized with capital letter. So we open parentheses. Inside of the parentheses we're gonna have the first parameters. The number is gonna be 0. The numbers, it can be from 0 to 1, so it can be 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.9, 1. You got the idea. So, and then the color is gonna be inside of the double quotes, in this case red. Let's save it. Okay, so okay, nothing's happening yet, and now we're gonna have the same piece of code, but this time we're gonna be using, okay, it's gonna be is add color stop. So it's not gonna be add color stop, okay, see, add color stop, but this time it's gonna be white. It's gonna be add, okay, add color stop, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have the number first, that is gonna be 1 this time, and then we're gonna open double quotes, and this time it's gonna be white. So we're gonna save it. We're gonna end up this statement with a semicolon, and now we're gonna fill with gradient. Okay, so we're gonna have the ctx that fill style, and we're gonna assign it to the gradient. So we're gonna have, okay, we can comment it. So we're gonna have fill with gradient, so it's gonna be fill with gradient. Okay, so now we're gonna have the ctx that fill style, and we're gonna assign it to the gradient, to the GDR, this value that we just created in line 20. Okay, so now we're gonna go to line 26, and in line 26 we're gonna have the ctx that fill rect. Okay, ctx that fill rect, we're gonna open parentheses. Okay, we're gonna have 4 values. Okay, let me see something. You put ctx that fill rect, you open parentheses, and you're gonna have some information here. So canvas rect that fill rect, open parentheses, you're gonna have 1 element, 1 parameter, 2 parameters, 3, and then you're gonna have the 4th parameter. So the numbers that they're picking are 10, 10, 150, 80. Okay, 10, 10, 150, and then 80. So let's save it, and now let's go to our website to see how it's looking. And let me see, I didn't refresh it, so it should be working. So what I did wrong here. Okay, so we have the bar, we have the ctx, get context, and I know what I miss here. I'm saying to use camel notation, and I mess it up here. Let's see if that is the thing that I was missing. Okay, yeah, that was the thing, it was not working. So yeah, you see, that is the importance to use the camel notation. So in this part I did the C chain it to then get context, and I didn't use the camel notation. So again, we're not focusing on JavaScript mainly, we're focusing on HTML, but as you can see, we can open Ctrl Shift I, and you have here your padding border, margin. You have the computer here. You can play around with these values. For example, instead of red we can have, I don't know, green. Maybe we can have green. Let's see how it should look like. And let's say instead of 0 we can have 0.7. So this is how it's looking. It's a little darker. And instead of white we can have, I don't know, maybe let's say black. Okay, so it's gonna go opposite. So as you can see, it's a little darker. We're using 1, but let's say we're gonna be using 0.1. So let's see how it should look like. So this is starting to take another tone, and yeah, this is how it should look like. You can play around with these values. So we're gonna move to the next example. Draw a circular gradient. Okay, so we're gonna keep our script element, we're gonna keep our var statement declaration C, our variable C, and our variable CTX. So we're gonna just keep it like that. So we're gonna just modify, we're just gonna modify this from lines 19 to lines 26. We're just gonna delete it, and now we're gonna have create a gradient. Okay, so okay, so it's gonna be create a gradient. Okay, so in line 20 we're gonna have the var statement declaration name and grd, so it's gonna be equal sign, and the equal sign is gonna be ctx. We're gonna chain it to the create radial gradient, so it's gonna be create radial gradient. And again, make sure that we're following the camel notation CTS create radial gradient. Okay, we open parentheses, and this time we're gonna have 1 2 3 4 5 6 elements. So in this case we're gonna have okay, 75 55, so it's gonna be 75 55, and then we're gonna have the following numbers: 90 60 100 90 60 100. Okay, so we're gonna end up with a semicolon here, and to the next line we're gonna have the grd, that is short for the gradient. This is the variable that we created in line 9, and I mean in line 20. So it's gonna be we're gonna add color, so we're gonna chain it, the gradient add color stop. So it's gonna be add color stop, add color stop, and again we're using camel notation, open parentheses, and we're gonna be using red and white. So they're using red and white. Okay, the number is gonna be 0 comma, and now inside double quotes we're gonna have, I don't know, red, and we're gonna end this statement with a semicolon. We're gonna have grd, we're gonna chain it to add color stop, open parentheses. This time the number is gonna be 1, and inside of the double quotes we're gonna have, I think it was white, doesn't matter, we can play around with the color. So okay, it's not working yet, so it's gonna be white. We're gonna end up this statement with a semicolon, and now we're gonna have the field with gradient. So we're gonna have here field with gradient. So now we're gonna have the ctx, we're gonna have the ctx dot field style, and we're gonna assign it to the gradient. So we're gonna end up with a semicolon. Then we're gonna have ctx field rect, so it's gonna be ctx we chain it field rect, and we're gonna open parentheses cts field rect, and we're gonna pass 10 10 150 80 10 10 150 80. So let's see how it's looking. Okay, so this is how it should be looking. So we have now this example. Let me see, it was very similar to this one. So you can change this color. Maybe instead of red you can put yellow, instead of white we can put, I don't know, we can put, I don't know, blue maybe. Oh well, yeah, it's gonna look like this. We can put 0. Oh, it was like that. We can put, instead of 0 it can be 0.5 or 0.6, and here is gonna be 0.4 maybe. You can play around with these numbers, and it's gonna be starting looking like this. So you can play around with these values, and now we're gonna move to the draw image. So we are gonna have this bar. Okay, so we're gonna have the var statement declaration C document screen image. Okay, so let's check it out here how they're doing it. Okay, first of all, we're gonna have to grab this image here that they're using. I already have this image here, so I think I name it screen. Okay, image underscore the underscore screen. So I'm using it, and I grab it from the W3 schools. I just grab it from here. Fair use for educational purposes. So we're just gonna copy this whole code. We're gonna go to Visual Studio Code and we're just gonna replace it. We're gonna replace the whole thing, save it and paste it. So we have in 5 we have a paragraph image to use, and line 6 we're gonna have an image with an ID attribute screen. The source is gonna be equal sign, double quotes, and the name of the file. In my case, I name it image or img underscore the underscore screen that jpg. So that is the name of my file. The whole, that is the description, the screen. The width is going to be 220 pixels and the height is going to be 277 pixels. So now in line 8 we're going to have a paragraph. So canvas to fill, we're going to end the canvas tag, and the paragraph tag. In line 9 we're going to have from line 9 to line 12 we're gonna have the canvas element, or I'm gonna move it like that. So from lines 10 to 13 we're gonna have the canvas element, and we're gonna have an ID attribute of my canvas. A width is gonna be 250 pixels, and a height is gonna be 300 pixels. And again, you can omit the px, short for pixels. Okay, inside of the canvas element we're gonna have the style attribute, equal sign, double quotes. We're gonna have the border column, 1 pixel solid, and it's gonna be this color. You can make it a little bigger so it's more noticeable. It's gonna be solid. I'm gonna put it 10 pixels so it can be more noticeable, and I'm gonna pick another color. Let's go for, I don't know, kind of like a dark green. I'm gonna go for, I don't know, this color. Now we're gonna end the angle brackets of the canvas element. We're gonna have a context, and it's gonna be your browser does not support the HTML canvas, and you are gonna read this information if your browser does not support the HTML canvas tag. But let's see how the code is looking up to this point. Okay, image to use and canvas to fill, and then try it. So since my browser does support the HTML canvas, I don't see this context or this message. So now in line 13 we're just gonna end the canvas tag with angle brackets / canvas. In line 15 we're gonna have a paragraph, and inside of the paragraph we're gonna have a button element with an unclick event. We're gonna use equal sign, double quotes. Inside of the double quotes we're gonna have this function named my canvas with an empty set of parentheses as functions do. And now outside of that we're gonna have this context that is gonna be try it, and then we're gonna end the button tag. So if we go here, it's gonna be here and try it. As you can see, it's gonna be try it. So this is gonna be our button that is gonna respond to our function. But first we have to create our function. So in the script element, here we're gonna have a script element from line 17 to 24, and inside of the script element we're gonna have a function named my function. So we're gonna have a function name my canvas. So it's gonna be my canvas open parentheses with an empty set of parentheses, and then we're gonna open a set of curly braces. We're gonna open curly braces. Inside of the curly braces we are gonna have this piece of code. We're gonna have the var statement declaration name C, and we are gonna assign into the document that get element by ID open parentheses open double quotes. Inside of the double quotes we're gonna pass in the ID, and the ID is this one. We're gonna be grabbing the my canvas, that is in the ID attribute of the canvas element in line 10. So that is that. We are in line 19. We're gonna end up with a semicolon. Now we're gonna move to line 20. We're gonna have another variable, the var streaming declaration named ctx. We're gonna assign it to the c variable, and we're gonna chain it to the get context. Inside of the parentheses we're gonna have double quotes. Inside of the double quotes we're gonna have the two-dimensional 2D. We ended with a semicolon. We move to lines 21. We're gonna have the var statement declaration img, name it img, and we're gonna assign it to the document that get element by id. In this case we're gonna open parentheses, double quotes, and inside of the double quotes we're gonna have the id screen. And if you can see it here in line 6, we have the image element. We have the ID attribute set to a screen in line 6. So we are grabbing this ID in this case. So we have two IDs. One ID is for the image element in line 6, and we have another ID attribute for the canvas element in line 10. So in this case we're grabbing the ID from line 6. We end up with a semicolon. And finally we're gonna move to line 22. We're gonna have the ctx, the variable ctx, chain it to draw image. Inside of the parentheses we're gonna have the image, and the parameters is gonna be the image 10 and 10. And finally we close the curly braces of the function my canvas, and then we end the script tag. So we save it, and then we open our website. And this is exactly how it should look like. Image to use is gonna be this image that we're grabbing it from the W3 schools for educational purposes. Canvas to fill, and pretty much we're gonna fill this rectangle with this image. How? Pressing this button, try it, because we are using here in line 15 we have a paragraph, and inside of this paragraph we have the button, and we have the unclick event, and here we have in our function my canvas. So when I click it, boom, this is how it should look like. So this is all for this video, and we can refresh it and we can click it again.